In this brief video, let's talk about the positioning of your thumb at the back of your guitar neck. And I want to talk about this point that I don't see many people talk about because they just repeat what they learn and they don't inquire about the logic of it. The logic of all of these little technique points that your guitar teacher or some guitar teacher online or on YouTube is teaching you. Techniques such as it's not the tip of your thumb that is touching the neck. Your thumb sits somewhere near the middle of the neck. It's not pointing at the headstock, it's pointing at the ceiling. It's at the same level as your index and your pointing finger. All of these little techniques are based on this core logic that I'm about to talk about now. If you understand this point really well, and it's really simple, it'll not only help you to play better and faster and more accurately, but it'll help you to play more relaxed, which means less likely to get injured, it'll save you some handache and frankly some headache. So here's the principle. Your body will perform at its best when it comes to playing the guitar. It'll perform at its best if it is the closest to its natural state. Here's what I want you to do. Whichever arm that grabs the guitar neck, put that arm either on your lap or on a tabletop and just relax it. So we're not extending the fingers, we're not fisting, just there. I'm gonna rotate my hand up a little bit so you guys can see, but in its most relaxed form, my hand is holding this shape that you guys can see here. This is like where it's at its most comfortable. I'm not extending, flexing, nothing. I'm just keeping it relaxed. The most technically correct way to hold the guitar neck is the position that is as closely as possible to the most relaxed shape of your hand. That's your point of reference. So this is the most relaxed position that my hand has. What I'm going to do is to sort of like squeeze in that remote in there, right? This is the best way for me to hold my guitar neck. Everybody's physique, everyone's body, everyone's hand works differently, is shaped differently, is differently sized. That is why your position, your best, most comfortable, most technical position is going to be a little bit different to mine and everybody else's. Now let's talk about this. You notice that my thumb and my pointing finger are kind of at the same level. So when an instructor says, hey, these two have to be at the same level, it's not some secret thing that has to be exactly that way. Again, everyone's hand works differently, but that's where it's coming from. If your most natural state is a little bit more like that, so your thumb is a little bit more out, or it's a little bit more in, that's okay. Don't try to level your fingers. Just keep your hand as closely as possible to the most comfortable natural state. Secondly, if I keep my hand relaxed, you notice my thumb is not here as if like I'm grabbing something. Like if you grab something, if I'm holding this remote, you notice how my thumb has to come around like this to hold the remote, right? If I keep it relaxed, it's actually pointing like that way, right? It's not up, it's not here, it's kind of there. If I squeeze the remote in there, you notice that the side of my thumb is actually in touch with the remote, not the pointy bit of it. And that's where the next technique point comes from. When somebody says, hey, it's the side of your thumb, it's not there, it's not here, it's there, that's where it comes from. Now, before I pick up the guitar and give you some extra tips, hopefully you got the underlying logic of where all of these little techniques come from. This is why I care about this topic a lot. Like I've firsthand experienced how better and pain-free I can play if I do this correctly. Let's pick up the guitars now. I'm going to relax my arm there, and then I'm just going to leave everything as is and just squeeze my hand in there and just grab the guitar neck as relaxed as I possibly can. Now, obviously, this is not a static thing, right? It moves around. So for example, if you want to go down your neck to play higher notes, but your bass string, your thumb is going to have this kind of a trajectory, right? Or there are some times where you want to play a chord and your thumb is going to play the bass note or bass notes of the chord. So your thumb actually is going to go around and grab like Hendrix style, John Mayer style, right? Things of that nature. So it is never a static thing. It always moves around, but the reference point is the most relaxed point. So you have to always come back to it. And when you're deviating from it, you want to do it as little as you possibly can. Now, the next question is, now that I know where to position my thumb, how do I hold the neck? Because hold is the question of power. Like, how much do you squeeze? Like, how does the energy, the interaction between your finger and the neck works? So let's talk about that very briefly too. It's really easy. When you're holding the guitar neck, your thumb and your fingers have to work in unison together to hold the neck and hold the string down to play a clean note. So it's not like that only your fingers are squeezing and your thumb is relaxed. So it's not this. And it's not like you're squeezing and your thumb is like, trying to come in. It's none of those. Here's the best way to figure it out. Relax your hand again and get to that position in your most relaxed state and remove the remaining 3 fingers. Just go with the first finger for now. And I want you to keep your hand relaxed and just play the dead note. Right? Your hand right now should be in its most natural state, relaxed. Now, what I want you to do is to gently push that string down. At the same time, use the weight of your arm against the fret, because there's gravity, right? If you hold your guitar neck like this, there's a gravity line that goes straight down. So what I want you to do is not just to push the string with your finger. I want you to push it, yeah, but also use the gravity, the weight of your arm against the fret so that you're, putting less power in but getting the same outcome. And gently add the weight of your arm and squeeze that note. Right. And one thing you notice, and when I learned this, I was blown away. One thing I noticed was, wow, it actually needs much less power, much less force for me to play a clean note. Because I was like, always squeezing and playing around, whatever. And now I'm like, hold on. If I do a zero-based sort of like power insertion, like just from 0, add the weight of my arm, and then just a little squeeze in my natural hand state. Oh my! A clean note. With like half as much as power that I usually put in to play a note. Can I do it for other fingers? Third finger. Oh, wow. And a lot of times my concerns were that my third and fourth fingers are weak. And I was like, all right, I got to figure something out. And now I'm like, no, hold on. Actually, I don't need that much force. You got to do the same thing. By the way, don't just look at me doing it at home. Pick up your guitar. Do the exact same thing. And you realize that if you have the natural hand state, you don't need that much power to play any of those notes. Breathe, keep yourself relaxed, and do the things that I just told you to do. And the best part about it is that this slow exercise is the key for you to play fast. That's the irony, right? That's the juxtaposition. Because for you to be able to play fast, you have to be relaxed. Your fingers have to be relaxed. Squeeze is the enemy of speed, right? It's always have been. I hope this video provided you some value. If you're a student, if you're learning, if you're a hobbyist, I hope it provided you some value and you learned something. And if you're an instructor and you're teaching this in the classical fashion, point number 1, thumb and finger have to be on the same line. Point number 2, thumb shouldn't be pointing at the headstock, should point at the ceiling. At least now you understand why any of these happening. So not only can now help your students better, but also it helps your playing too. Thanks so much for hanging out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself.